Hello everyone, it's Professor Horlacher, and this video is to help you prepare for homework number 7, part 2. There are 2 parts to the homework, but this is just about preparing the second part, and it can be found on page 150 in the workbook, exercise 9-7b. This is a pretty exciting homework because this is the first time where you're going to get to write your own phrase of music with not much given to help you out, but something that lets you be really original. So the homework has 2 basic topics to it. One is to use predominance correctly. As you know, we've just added a couple to our vocabulary, the 2 and the 2-6 and the 4 and the 4-6, used as predominance, meaning leading toward 5. The second topic is to start thinking about the shape of phrases. Now that we have predominance, we can do a lot in making our phrases sound very goal-oriented. And so how does this work? How is it that you write your own phrase? If you go and look at page 150 in the workbook, you'll see that it tells you some things that you should have in your phrase. It tells you what kind of cadence to end with. It also tells you part of the baseline in scale degrees. And it also tells you what chord to use to expand the tonic. Now, one of the little twists of this exercise is that it doesn't tell you those things necessarily in the order in which they would occur. So you'll want to look at those instructions and put things in the right order. Obviously, you don't start with a cadence. A cadence is something that happens at the end. And so what order does a phrase take? How is it that you shape a phrase properly? If you look in the e-text on page 201, you'll find a very nice chart that shows you some models on how to take a 4-bar phrase and shape it in various ways. And all of them use a basic model, which is to start out on the tonic, go to a predominant chord, go to a 5. If you stop on the 5, that will be a half cadence. If you go on to a 1, then you're going to stop in some kind of authentic cadence. And that looks pretty easy, but of course a phrase is more than just 4 chords. And so what we know is that during this opening part of the phrase, there are lots of ways of expanding the tonic. And that's something that happens often at the start of the phrase. And it's worth taking a look at these 2 items in the homework, the expansion of the tonic and the baseline that's given by scale degrees, because those are things that might happen in the first part of the phrase. The instructions also tell you which of the predominants to use and what kind of cadence to end on. So let's go to the next slide and look at a sample. Here I have a practice open bit of music in 3/4. Let's get some pen going there. There we are. And I have a sample bass line right here. Let's talk about the method of putting together your own original phrase. A good thing to do is to start out writing that bass line. This is number 1. So here I've given a bass line with a bunch of scale degrees in it, and this could easily be set in any particular key. Up here I've decided to write in D major. Okay. These are scale degrees: 1, 2, 3, 7, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, 4, 5. And if I were to go on to an authentic cadence, I would include a 1. If I were to stop on 5, that would be a half cadence. As we talked about in Monday in class, when I see a bass line like this, I know that predominants have scale degrees 2 and 4 in the bass, but not all 2s and 4s use predominance. And so I need to look at this series of scale degrees and decide which ones of them are expanding the tonic and when that predominant actually happens. 2s that go between 1 and 3 are not predominants. These are part of the tonic expansion. And 4s that go back down to 3 are also not predominants. But when we have instead a 2 or a 4 going to 5, then we know to use a predominant harmony. So going back to my bass line here, 1, 2, 3, that looks like tonic. 7, 1 looks like tonic. 4, 3, that looks like tonic, and so does 2, 1. But there is my big predominant harmony that moves on to 5. Now I've written a meter of 3/4, and the simplest thing to do as we're beginners is to think about putting the tonic harmonies, the ones with 1 and 3 in the bass, on downbeats, and to fit the other harmonies in on weaker beats. So my phrase might look like something like this. Here's 1, 2, that's a 3, and the 3 is on the downbeat. I'll put the 7,